Hey. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, I was not sure what happens now, but it's a teaser. You know my name. I will give you some backgrounds of what I do later on. First of all, I do this in English. Hope everyone speaks English for sure. Not sure, is it okay for that, for you in this front? Otherwise, there are a couple of seats left in the back. Perfect. Yeah, thanks for having me. But before we start, I want to travel a bit back in time because I had some flashback moments here. Because almost exactly 10 years ago, I've been here on stage the second time. Actually, I was like overseeing the JavaScript track because I was quite involved in the JavaScript community. And this was in 2015, and I gave a talk about crazy JavaScript stuff, like JSFAQ, something I created where you can write JavaScript with only 6 different characters, square brackets, braces, ampersand, and plus sign. I also gave an overview of how you can write JavaScript with different writing systems, such as, for example, code that looks like a Japanese code that's totally executable without any additional interpreter. So you run this and you get an alert 1 in the browser. And I was also showing like what's combining like my 2 worlds that I'm in. It's JavaScript, code golfing, visual stuff, and geographic things like displaying the world in just 1024 characters where the spinning world in 3D is embedded into code. And this is a topic that is covering my whole career, my whole life for a really long time. And the reason for that is now 20 years old, because this was a time when Google Maps came out. Is there someone who is not older than 20 years? Okay. So you might know the time before Google Maps, and you might remember the first time Google Maps was released in a browser. It was an interactive web application where you can zoom in and pan, but 20 years ago, you can already get a glimpse of what's happening in the States, in America. But once you pan to the right or to the east, as we say, you will see this. So this was Europe back in the days. There was not a lot of data. Yeah, but it was the first release, and it changed a lot of things. Google started with that, and they were trying to collect more data and made it more accessible to more people. Now, like, everyone is using it to get around, and it has tons of different views, and you open just an app and you see one thing, and you switch context so often to get a better understanding of the world around you. And it's also being used in companies to get an overview of like what's happening around the globe. And to give you an idea, I want to play back a short video, just what happened in the last 20 years.
What's in Google Maps?
Nice.
Yeah, a lot happened in that 20 years. And now, a short intro about myself. I'm Martin Kleppe. I'm the CTO of UB Labs, also the founder of UB Labs. And UB Labs was founded a couple of months after Google Maps was released because there was a JavaScript application that was running in a browser. But there were also people from a university in Sydney who are hacking the source code and unuglifying the code to see what's going on in the background. And what they did is they found out how you can control the map with JavaScript via an API. So they built a kind of Google Maps, unofficial Google Maps API, and they released it, and it was like spreading super fast. And not sure if you know the story, but these two students, they were like publishing them, and everyone was interested. And Google sat together and say they were thinking about, okay, what should we do now? We can sue them, and they might go to jail because it's forbidden, or they pay a lot of money, or we can hire them and use their idea to make this this data, this interface available to everyone, not only to our application, but also to other applications. And this was a time where like people started to mix Google Maps with their own data. And at that time, we had the idea to build a company around that. So we started UB Labs with the idea, okay, there's a huge potential to have maps in every application, not only as a standalone application, and will help many businesses and many people to get around, to get a better understanding of their surrounding. So, UB Labs, we call us the experts for data and location. We have a strong overlap of maps and cloud topics. So cloud is being used to process a lot of data, to store a lot of data, and also AI topics coming in. And maps is the front end where you can display all this information. And we help, as UB Labs, we help other companies to visualize, experience, and utilize the data. We are a certified Google Premier partner. We are a long-standing partner with Google and specialized in location-based services, which is Maps and also Looker for visualization and BI topics. And we are also the trusted tester for the Google Maps platform teams. So we are working super close together with the development teams in the US. We have contacts to everyone in the different departments, and we have the first insights about the roadmap, like what's going on in the next half a year. And we are also getting access to the first API drafts. And what our task is then is to think about this APIs, how can we build a demo that it's easy to understand for users, and how can we make this abstract API docs into something that is visually appealing, easy to understand for everyone. So we built a lot of demos. We also are contributing for Google as in open source libraries. So we built, for example, the React Google Maps library, which just passed more than 500,000 weekly downloads, where you can use Google Maps in your React application. This is now something, there were other libraries that does that, but we are like paid to do that. And we are working with the WisGL community and the OpenJS community to make sure that this is like ever evolving. And we built many demos. I would say like every year for the Google I/O, Google Cloud Next conference, whenever there's a new release of a product, we build a short, little tiny demo that we present together with Google in a blog post. But this topic is not about like the visual stuff. It has a lot of visual slides in here, but I want to talk about something that's now super new and for everyone, especially also for Google, because they were trying to hold us back, and this is the access to the data itself. So before, you were only allowed to display all the information on a Google map. So you can say, okay, this is the map. I want to display places here, directions there, live traffic, as an overlay, but you were not allowed, and it was quite hard to do so, to get this data and work with this data. And a couple of weeks ago, this went into GA for specific areas of the Google data, of the Google Maps data. But before we will cover this, I want to do a quick wrap up what happened in the last couple of months. So Google, you know Google Maps as the maps, so you have the outlines, you have the streets and points where you can investigate places and directions and so on. But you also have environmental APIs now. So what's quite new is that Google provides Weather Next. It's their own AI model that it's also showing the information when you open your Android phone about the current state of the weather in your city. And this is also accessible via an API in all the details. It's super detailed, so you can get the current weather information, the forecast. You can go back a couple of hours, and you have tiny details that you can access via an API and that you're allowed to use. Google also provides information from an environmental context about air quality. So you have maps that shows like how bad or good is the current condition in a specific place, but it also has a forecast and a short history where you can see how this air quality is evolving. They have solar potential, and recently they're not only showing like the solar potential because they are flying over all the cities and doing 3D scans, so to say. No, it's not scanning, but they have 3D models. They can extract the roof shapes, the slopes, and they can calculate the solar potential for each individual building across the world. Not across the world, there are a couple of countries where they started with. It's not spread everywhere, but it's available in Germany, for example. And you can access this data in your process, and now they also released a kind of, they detect or what kind of solar panels you already have installed on top of your roof, and you can then estimate the potential for the next things. And what's also in the environmental API is the pollen API, where you get detailed information about grass, trees, and all the different types of pollen that's currently spreading around, and you also get a forecast that you can use in your applications. Another big thing that's also into GA since Niels last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. It's the 3D maps. Sorry? Last week, yeah. It's the 3D maps that you might know from Google Earth. So in Google Earth, you can zoom into any place. Sorry for the internet connection. This is a video, yeah. So this is, for example, our office here in Hamburg. And you have this 3D information. And as you see, this is a video being grabbed from Google Earth as a screencast. But this information is now interactively available in the browser and also for Android and iOS. So you can have a kind of map that's not now flat, or you might know this little abstract maps that you can tilt. But this now has like all the details with all the information of the. You can go even below bridges. You have the textures for everything, and you're also able to overlap or overlay like places informations on top of that. And it's interactive. You can browse this for every place. I will also show a demo with this later. Yeah, and the latest addition is that you can now style streets, for example, like overlays that are baked into the map, and you can also add your own 3D models and make them interactive. Yeah. Another addition that's out now for a bit more than a year is Blaze's Gemini summaries, and it was the first step to something that we see later. So what Google does is they analyze the comments of all the people that review a specific place, and they can provide you a summary for this place based on the reviews, based on their Gemini model. So for every restaurant, you get a short description of like what's going on. And there are a couple of additions that we see later. And as I said in the beginning, for me, the biggest topic now is something that's called Places Insight. So this is the first time that Google makes the data accessible. So you're not allowed to copy this data, first of all. So they have more than 200 million places information. And but what you can do, you can access the Google Maps places data set in BigQuery using data clean rooms to get insights. What it means is that you have the places information from Google, and you can't just get them individually one by one, but you can do a query within the Google Cloud, within Google Cloud BigQuery to get a better understanding of a specific area or of a surrounding of a place. And there are a couple of use cases for that. So score locations is like popular use case. You can say, okay, for every hotel that I have on my website, or for every listing that I have on my website, I can look in the surrounding and find out how many restaurants there are, how many whatever there are. Or if it's a hotel, you look for like places where you can do sightseeing or beaches and so on. This is good for scoring locations. It's good for planning new sites, so you can analyze the whole country and see, okay, there's some black hole, not black holes, some white spots where I should open a specific store if the surrounding meets my need. You can also do competitive analysis, like analyzing reviews of other places and a lot of other things. And to do that, you simply fire SQL statement, and here's just a really simplified statement. You select everything from the US dataset, for example. The first line with aggregation threshold is something that needs to be mentioned here. You will always get sums or averages. You won't get individual entries from specific places, and the aggregation threshold is a specific number. I think it's between 5 or 10. So if in a specific area, if there's less than 5 or 10 entries, it won't return anything. This is to make sure that Google can't be scraped. So otherwise, you run a query that scrapes like everything in detail in the small cells, and you get back individual information, and you can store this back. So Google makes sure that you can't copy the whole data, but you still have access and get insights out of that. Yeah, and here's a little demo time. Let's see if this works. Oops. Oh no, sorry. Okay. Yeah. View full screen. Okay, just to make it more obvious, this is quite simple example. So this is for New York. You might have the boundaries of your different street districts. In this case, it's for Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Bronx, and so on. And you can pass this information to Google. And here's a sample query that gets this information. So it gets back a FIPS code. This is something that the US use quite a lot. And you can request this or query against this data and get back aggregates for this data. So in this case, for example, you can get the average rating of a specific vegan restaurant in New York for different areas. It's the first step that you can do. What's more interesting is that you, instead of just providing shapes, you can also provide individual locations and say in a specific radius, in a specific surrounding, give me back information about this. And this might be your own data, so you have your own internal ranking that you made up based, for example, based on your own customer reach numbers. And you can then enhance this with the places information from Google. So you can query, and this is like the query that's behind that. You check for different information like how's the customer reach, how's the competitors, how many shops are in this area, how is the transportations, and how many transportations are in this area, and how's the rating. And you use this information then to score your own location. Yeah, and I think that's okay for the demo. Back to the slideshow. Okay. The key benefits is that you now have easy access to like all the 250 million places in Google. It's also worth to mention that this data is always up to date, so you don't have to copy over the data. It's like when you access this via in BigQuery, you have instantly update to all the updates. You can conduct spatial analysis with a lot of Google Cloud tools. There's also now a Geospatial Explorer in BigQuery itself, so you can do this queries and visualize this on the fly in the Cloud Console. And what you also can do with the data clean room is that you can combine this with your own data in a secure way. And it's now also full compliance with the terms of service. So before you were not allowed to copy over and analyze this data, and now with this kind of new API, it's now allowed to do so. And the tech behind this is something that's called Analytics Hub. So Google provides information in Analytics Hub from different sources, from third-party sources. You can also provide your own data sources, and then you can kind of subscribe to your specific data sources in BigQuery and mix them together in so-called data clean rooms. So you have your own customer data, for example, you have a listing of all your stores, all your hotels, all your whatever. And then you have access to the Google data set, like the POI data, that you can use to enrich your own data, and you can also integrate other third-party data. And then you have your aggregated data that you can store back into your into your database. And there are a lot of listings. It's weather information is coming. You have access to Google Maps. You have trends in Google Maps, but also other public and free data sets that you can subscribe to. And it's now possible to mix this together within BigQuery and the Google Cloud. Yeah, this is like one of the first products and it's now GA, so you can now use this. There are other parts of the Google Maps API that you can access from the data side. Routes is like all the street information. Places is what we saw. Street view, so Google captures a lot of street view images, and it's not only there to browse the area, but they also extract data from the street view imagery. And there's Earth Engine, which analyzes the satellite data. And RMI, Road Management Insight, uses the current conditions on streets that you can now also access via the same clean rooms and principles as mentioned before. So you subscribe to specific areas, and then you can do like computing a route, and you get back the real-time traffic information back that you can visualize and react and use to analyze this data. And you can store this data historically, and you can see like if there's, for example, if there's a construction going on, if this improves your map and your overall speed traffic. There's also imagery insights, which I guess will be renamed to Street View Insights. That's something that we are working on. That will be released hopefully next month. There's also some docs out there, and what it does is you get access to a specific area, and you can say, give me all street signs or utility poles information for a specific area, and Google gives you like all the specific location where it detects a street sign or utility pole on a map, and these are thousands in that area, and it will also give you back the individual observation of this. So a street view car is passing by, you have different angles where you have this observation, and it does it also for different times, so you can see how it changed over time. And you can then use this information, pass this to Vertex AI, and analyze this information. And you can analyze, okay, what is the street sign about, or what's the current condition about this as utility poles. And you can use this data then, and it will be stored back to your BigQuery instance. Yeah, and then there's Earth Engine. Earth Engine is the engine behind Google Maps and Google Earth, where they have access to thousands of data sources from Earth observation topics, and you can merge them together and analyze these things now also within BigQuery. It was quite hard to do this before because you had to do an extra. You had to use an extra tool for that, and now it's possible to do a query and say, okay, give me the average value of the temperature in a specific area, or give me the flood risk for a specific for my locations in a specific area. Yeah. So these are the new insights API and access to new to the data. Another thing that I want to wrap up with is, of course, Gemini AI. And how this is baked into Google Maps now in the Google Maps APIs. You saw this the places Gemini summaries, where it gets all the comments and it will produce like a 2-sentence summary for a specific place. But now there's also grounding with Google Maps, and grounding with Google Maps is quite helpful because you can now search for specific things in your own application by using the Gemini APIs and ask, okay, where's a specific restaurant? Where's the closest things to do, and how's the vibe in a specific things? Or if the reviews mention a specific meal, for example. Yeah. We built a demo that's unfortunately not running anymore, so I can't do a live demo. It was running at the Cloud Next event in Las Vegas, and you can ask and chat with the Gemini API and then ask you for a recommendation. So there's now an update for that. And looking at the time, maybe I have to switch. Or should we do a live demo or video? Live demo? I'm trying the live demo. Just hope it works. So this is now a custom-built application. Actually, this is available in AI Studio, and you can look into the code, how this was written, and you can run this in the browser. And what it does, it has a 3D map in the background that you can interact with. Oops, I have to put this. It uses our React library, and it connects to the Google Maps grounding APIs now via Vertex AI. And what it does is, I hope the sound is working.
Hi there.
Hi there.
I'm a demo agent. I can hear you clearly. I'm a demo agent powered by grounding with Google Maps.
Okay, so it streams the voice, and it also streams my microphone input, so I can interact with that in real time. Oops, I have to do it again. So
Hi there. I'm a demo agent. Hi there. I'm a demo agent powered by grounding with Google Maps. This technology lets me use Google Maps real-time information to give you accurate and relevant answers. To show you how it works, let's plan a quick afternoon itinerary together. You can talk to me with your voice or type. Just use the controls below to mute or unmute. First, to start our plan, what city are you thinking of today?
We are here in Hamburg, Germany. Oops, not working. Okay, I guess I messed it up. Oh. Ah! Need to be more loud. Okay. Let's do a plan. Okay.
Hi there. I'm a demo agent powered by grounding with Google Maps. This
We
technology
are
lets
here
me
in
use Google
Hamburg.
Maps real-time information to give you accurate and relevant answers. To show you how it works, let's plan a quick afternoon itinerary together. You can talk to me with your voice or type. Just use the controls below to mute or unmute. First, to start our plan, what city are you thinking of?
Hamburg. I guess the internet connection is not fast enough. Sometimes the streaming is not responding too fast. Okay. It's brand new.
Hamburg.
Okay.
Got
It's the Wi-Fi is too slow for that. Wi-Fi is too slow, but you get an idea. Is
Please wait while I get that information.
yeah. It's okay. Okay, but if you have a good internet connection, you can like talk to this in a real conversation and ask for details, also for surroundings, get recommendations based on your needs and so on. Yeah. So I will share the slides later. You can try this, and hopefully it works for you then. Wi-Fi is.
Hi there. I'm a demo.
Okay. Wi-Fi is a bit slow. Okay. That's just the first. That's just the beginning. The Google Maps team is thinking about different ways to use AI, and there were a couple of announcements. Something that's super new. There's something called Earth AI now, which combines all the different data sources that we've seen before. So the imagery data is in there. They have access to the population data. They have access to an environmental API, and it will all be bundled into a geospatial reasoning agent. And this is something that you can use from within Google Earth or Google Earth Lite experience, but you can also access this information via an API. So it's not only for a specific, for example, not only to just place it, but like you get access to everything. And hopefully this is working. It's too bad, huh? Maybe I should switch to another Wi-Fi. Can you see this? No. Wi-Fi. Okay, I'm gonna explain this. Sorry for the low quality of the videos. So here in this example, it asks for like specific weather conditions, and it will understand what you're thinking about. It will not only display specific points, it will also show your overlay, colorize this overlays based on your requests. Yeah, and another thing that's in the making is the so-called Code Assist MCP server for Google Maps, and this allows you to wire this together with your own IDE and have your Code Assist, and it in the back it access all the information or all the documentation of Google Maps, also all the examples and also all the best practices and the terms of service, and this will like put this on top of the default LMMs and gives you back information when you want to write a Google Maps application. So you can ask, okay, build an interactive web application that queries Google Cloud Places inside data and visualize venue density using 3D hexagonal heat maps and some more specific things. And it will look up all the documentation, look up all the examples, and it will output an interactive application for you, because there's so many information and so many APIs out there. It's now quite useful to you to have this AI assist. And that's it from my side. Thank you.